what we saw from there is probably the best boxing performance I've ever seen live.
He was in better shape.
Yeah?
He left it all in the ring. He wanted it more.
I took my belt back, and it's revenge also for me. And it was sitting something inside of me. I wanted to win, and I won.
Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev 2 was a fight that had fans on the edge of their seats. This was not just a rematch, it was a battle for undisputed light heavyweight supremacy. After their first encounter, there was unfinished business, and this time Bivol came in with a game plan that changed everything. Some say he outclassed Beterbiev, others claim Beterbiev was robbed. Either way, Bivol's victory has sparked intense debates, and we're here to break it all down. Let's dive in. Dmitry Bivol says, "In the ring, I was just trying to follow my plan in the fight to keep moving, stay focused, and counterpunch." Bivol's strategy was clear from the opening bell. Unlike many who tried to engage in a slugfest with Beterbiev, Bivol used movement and precision to control the pace. Beterbiev is known for his relentless pressure and power, but Bivol's ability to stay disciplined, counter effectively, and avoid prolonged exchanges kept him ahead. This was not about power punches. It was about intelligence, control, and calculated striking. Bivol knew that standing still against Beterbiev meant trouble, so he kept moving, never allowing Beterbiev to set his feet properly. This approach neutralized Beterbiev's biggest weapon, his relentless forward pressure. Bivol fought on his terms, not Beterbiev's. That's what made the difference.
You know, I was just trying to following my plan, my plan for the fight. We knew that he could start from the beginning, from the first round. He could start pressuring, but my task was just keep moving, be focused, and counterpunch.
Eddie Hearn states, Dmitry Bivol gave a performance that will be remembered for the ages, and this time, he got justice and became the undisputed champion. Bivol's victory wasn't just about winning, it was about proving that skill, strategy, and discipline could overcome sheer power. He had already shocked the world by beating Canelo Alvarez, and now he had dismantled another feared champion. Hearn's words emphasized that this wasn't just a win, it was a legacy-defining moment. Becoming the undisputed light heavyweight champion is something very few fighters achieve, and Bivol did it in dominant fashion. Justice, as Hearn put it, meant that Bivol left no doubts this time. No controversial scorecards, no debates, just a masterclass in boxing.
Took one of the greatest performances of our lifetime to overcome him and to beat him. And Dmitry Bivol did that tonight. Tonight, in my opinion, Dmitry Bivol got justice from the first fight and become the undisputed light heavyweight world champion with a performance for the ages.
Dmitry Bivol says out of relief that this rematch was satisfying and I got my belt back. I simply had that fire in me to win and I won. Bivol was fighting for more than just another belt. He was fighting for redemption. He had unfinished business and this time he was determined to leave no doubt. That fire Bivol talks about wasn't just motivation. It was evident in his approach. He was sharper, more aggressive, and completely locked in. Fighters can have all the skills in the world, but when they have that fire and hunger, they become unstoppable. And in this fight, Bivol proved that nothing was going to stop him from reclaiming his belt.
I took my belt back, and it's revenge also for me. And it was sitting something inside of me. I wanted to win, and I won.
Terence Crawford says that this time Dmitry Bivol was in better shape, and he wanted it more than Arthur. Crawford, a master technician himself, recognized that Bivol's conditioning played a huge role. Beterbiev started strong, but as the fight went on, Bivol's endurance and discipline took over. Bivol's ability to stay active, keep moving, and counterpunch without gassing out was a major reason for his victory. Fighters like Beterbiev rely on breaking opponents down with power and pressure, but if they slow down, they become vulnerable. And that's exactly what Bivol capitalized on. Crawford's analysis is spot on. This fight came down to who had more left in the tank, and Bivol's conditioning was on another level.
He was in better shape.
Yeah?
He left it all in the ring. He wanted it more.
Anthony Joshua says, you're expecting one thing from Arthur, and then Bivol comes in with that planning and boxing IQ. Joshua's words highlight one of Bivol's greatest weapons, his boxing IQ. Many fighters enter the ring with one-dimensional strategies, but Bivol is different. He adapts. He reads his opponent. He executes a game plan flawlessly. Beterbiev is a devastating puncher, and most opponents get overwhelmed. But Bivol? He came in with a plan to outthink Beterbiev, not outpunch him. Joshua's statement reflects why Bivol continues to beat the best. He doesn't just fight, he strategizes. And that level of IQ separates great fighters from legendary ones.
Because you're expecting one thing from Arthur. Bivol's like slick and showing us what boxing IQ looks like. Then you got a rugged, tough, strong man in Artur Beterbiev, and they just gel really well.
Michael Hunter states, the fight between Bivol and Beterbiev was really close, and I personally think they should go at it a third time. Hunter's perspective is interesting because not everyone saw this as a clear win for Bivol. Some rounds were close, and Beterbiev had his moments. Bivol's strategy was about control and precision, but for fans who love power, it may not have been as dominant as some expected. This is why a trilogy fight could be massive. If Beterbiev makes adjustments, can he turn the tide? Or will Bivol once again prove that his skill set is simply too advanced? Either way, a third fight would settle any lingering debates.
I thought it was very close. It was very questionable. I didn't really score round for round, but I feel like it could have probably went either way. And, they're going to have to do it a third time.
Benavidez saw something in Bivol that others overlooked. He understood that Bivol's style and intelligence could neutralize Beterbiev's power. While many expected Beterbiev's pressure to overwhelm Bivol, Benavidez knew Bivol's defense, movement, and counterpunching would make the difference. This prediction shows how experienced fighters recognize the small details that casual fans might miss. Benavidez's words aged perfectly, because Bivol executed the fight exactly how he needed to and walked away as the undisputed champion.
I think Bivol's gonna win. It's gonna be a good fight though, so we'll see what happens. You happy to straight away get a challenge? Yeah. We're ready to fight whoever. We're here ready. And how do you think, is this the first time in Riyadh? I think it's gonna be a good fight. I don't know, we'll see.
Lonnie B states, the victory of Bivol was complete bullcrap. This was a false victory because Bivol did not do anything from rounds 3 to 9. He lost all those rounds clearly. Not everyone saw Bivol's win as dominant, and Lonnie B's opinion is one of the most controversial takes from this fight. According to him, Bivol didn't do enough between rounds 3 and 9, implying that Beterbiev controlled the middle portion of the fight. This is where boxing scoring becomes subjective. Did Bivol's movement and counterpunching outweigh Beterbiev's power and pressure? Judges tend to favor the fighter landing cleaner shots, and that's exactly what Bivol did. But if you look at Beterbiev's aggression, you could argue he controlled the pace for stretches. This is why some fans feel Beterbiev deserved the win or at least a draw.
I think it is extremely bullshit. It seems like they awarded Bivol the win for making it to the finish line. Because he didn't win that fight. Like, okay, I gave him the first 2 rounds. Well, y'all will sit here and act like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 that he did what? He did nothing in the middle of the fight. Nothing. He lost all those rounds clearly.
Lonnie B says that Bivol fights to survive, and sometimes it can be hard to stop someone like that with that sort of fighting style. This is an interesting point because Bivol is not a knockout artist, he's a technician. Some fighters engage in wars, while others control fights with movement and defense. Bivol's style is built on making opponents miss, then making them pay. And against a power puncher like Beterbiev, that's the perfect game plan. Lonnie B's frustration likely comes from Bivol not engaging in a brawl, but in boxing, winning smart is just as important as winning strong. And Bivol's style, it's made to frustrate guys like Beterbiev.
Like, he fights to survive, and it's kind of hard to stop somebody like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't fight to dominate. Like if you see me when he punch, he tuck his chin all the way. Like, he be back here, so it's kind of hard to get a clean shot. And then he grab and hold, and then he move, then he jump back. He got good legs, so he jumped back real far. So I think that style was just a hard fight, a hard style for Arthur. You know, for him to look as good as he did against other opponents.
Anthony Yard states, "For me, Artur Beterbiev won, and this fight should have been a draw, but it still is kind of hard to argue with the decision." Yard acknowledges that Beterbiev did enough to make it close. Some rounds were razor thin, and judging in boxing is always up for debate. If you favor pressure and damage, Beterbiev might have won in your eyes. If you favor clean punches and control, Bivol was the clear winner. Even though Yard thinks a draw would have been fair, he admits Bivol's victory wasn't a robbery. That alone speaks volumes about how tight this fight was.
I thought personally, I thought Beterbiev won. A small margin, or it was a draw. But again, can't argue with the decision being given.
It looked like nothing was going to stop Bivol in the ring, and nothing could have reduced the pressure on him. Hearn emphasizes that Bivol fought with a sense of inevitability. Even when Beterbiev applied pressure, Bivol never looked out of control. He stuck to his game plan, absorbed Beterbiev's best shots, and never wavered. Champions are defined by how they handle adversity. And in this fight, Bivol proved he was built for greatness. Nothing fazed him, not Beterbiev's power, not the pressure, not even the doubters.
It looked like nothing was going to stop him, or nothing was going to, just reduce the pressure.
What we saw on the 22nd of February was one of the best boxing performances I've ever seen live. For Hearn to say this means Bivol's performance was truly special. We've seen many dominant displays in boxing history, but this fight was different. Bivol wasn't supposed to be the stronger fighter, yet he controlled the fight. He wasn't supposed to be able to handle Beterbiev's power, yet he did. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. And for boxing purists, this will go down as one of the most intelligent performances in a championship fight.
What we saw from there is probably the best boxing performance I've ever seen live.
Eddie Hearn further says that this time Artur Beterbiev started strong and got tired later on, and that's when Dmitry Bivol turned the screws. This is where Bivol's conditioning won him the fight. Beterbiev came in explosive, aggressive, and powerful, but the deeper the fight went, the more he slowed down. Bivol absorbed the early pressure and waited for the perfect moment to take control. This is the sign of a fighter who understands pacing and endurance. And once Beterbiev started to fade, Bivol made sure he never recovered. That's what separates great fighters from elite ones.
Beterbiev started fast, but probably tired a little bit when Bivol just turned the screw. And I didn't think he could turn the screw necessarily at that stage. It was a one-way traffic for those couple of rounds, and he looked so dangerous. And again, like the skill and the composure and the concentration was just incredible.
Yeah. Teofimo Lopez says that the right person won the match, and I'm happy with the decision. I would be excited to see a trilogy. Unlike the critics, Lopez has no doubts about the result. Bivol's performance was too clean, too controlled, and too effective. But his second point is important. A trilogy fight would be massive. Boxing thrives on great rivalries. And after two intense fights, a third bout would settle everything. Would Beterbiev make the necessary adjustments? Or would Bivol prove, once and for all, that he's simply the better fighter? That's a fight the world would love to see.
I'm happy with the decision, and I look forward to seeing His Excellency see what he does next with the trilogy, if anything.
Eddie Hearn finally says, I got to give respect to Artur Beterbiev because during a couple of rounds, he looked like an absolute killing machine. Despite losing, Beterbiev earned the world's respect. There were moments where he looked unstoppable, and if Bivol had slipped up even once, the fight could have ended very differently. This wasn't about one fighter being bad and the other being good. This was about two elite warriors going head-to-head. And while Bivol came out on top, Beterbiev remains one of the most dangerous fighters in the division.
I got to give respect to Artur Beterbiev because I was watching him in that period of 3, 4, 5, just thinking, to be honest with you, this bloke is just an absolute machine. He's such a good fighter, and it's not just he's heavy-handed, he's so good.
Dmitry Bivol has cemented himself as the undisputed light heavyweight champion. But the question now is, can anyone stop him? Is a trilogy fight with Beterbiev the next move? Or will Bivol look for new challenges in another division? Let us know in the comments. And if you love in-depth boxing breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe to Boxy Hub. Hit that like button, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more fight analysis, updates, and the latest boxing news.